Hello, and welcome to the Battle Wagon. I have primarily been playing Bolt Action and Star Wars Unlimited for some time now, but I am excited to be returning for some Legions Imperialis content. The number one request that I get on my channel is to do more content for this GW Specialist game. Since I don't actually play Horus Heresy or 40k, I've been told that I have a unique take on Legions Imperialis. For that reason, I snagged a review copy of Liber Strategia, and let's be honest with ourselves. The first thing we do when we get a new book like this is to figure out what's good and what took a hit by the nerf bat. This will be the first of many smaller videos taking a look at this updated game. The first thing I did was scour through the weapon profiles table in the back of the book, and here are my observations. I'll start by pointing out the weapons for the new units, then briefly discuss the new stuff for old units. There are a few name changes I'd like to touch on before moving on to the big nerfs and buffs, and then lastly, I'll touch on a few discrepancies I'm seeing in this brand new book. There are 7 new weapon profiles for 5 units. In alphabetical order, they are the hull-mounted Dreadhammer Siege Cannon for the Typhon, Neutron Laser Battery for the Cerberus, Scorpius Missile Launcher, 3 weapons for the Mastodon, the Siege Melta Array Sky Reaper Battery, and the Sponson-mounted Heavy Flamers, and the Whirlwind Missile Launcher. The Sponson-mounted Heavy Flamers should be noted that I actually expected that to be on maybe some of the Infernus variants of the Melkador or the Predator. There are 5 new weapon profiles for existing units. The Domitar Missile Launcher replaces the existing missile launcher on it. I'll talk about that more later because it technically is a nerf. The Hunter-Killer Missile is an additional option for the Rhino. There are 3 new Pintle weapons for certain vehicles. And lastly, the Ursarax Claws is an additional weapon that's new on the Ursarax, increasing its cost. There are a few name changes as well as one roughly neutral math change. The Bane Blade Sponsons are all renamed to Super Heavy Sponsons, respectively, of what they are: Autocannon, Flamer, Heavy Bolter. The Deathstorm Missile Launcher has its dice reduced from D3 plus 2 to just flat 2, but doubling its hit chance. This should be roughly the same number of hits, but your mileage may vary. The Shadow Sword Heavy Bolter Sponsons have been renamed to Super Heavy Bolter Sponsons, if that wasn't too much of a mouthful. And finally, the Voltrex Havoc Launcher has been renamed to Voltrex Missile Launcher. The first of our 10 nerfs are going to be both with the Kratos. The Sponson Autocannon and Las Cannon options lose the Accurate trait. The Coaxial Multi-Laser for the Stormhammer is the first of several lasers to have reduced range. Please note that this weapon actually appears in the entry for the Stormhammer, but does not appear in the back of the book, and I believe this was the case in the previous book, despite us pointing that out to them. The Lightning Twin Multi-Laser for the Lightning Aircraft also has the reduced range from 14 inches to 12 inches. Both of the missile launchers, the Astartes Infantry and the Mechanicum Domitar, have received nerfs. The infantry decreases the hits from 4 plus to 5 plus, and the missile launcher was replaced with the Domitar missile launcher that I mentioned earlier and decreases its dice from 2 dice to 1. The Aethon Sentinels have the multi-laser range reduced by 2 inches, and the Sentinel missile launcher has 2 hit decreased from 4 plus to 5 plus. I admittedly didn't see the Aethons too much on the table. They seemed a little bit easy to kill, so I was surprised that they got so many nerfs. The Stormhammer Multi-Laser Sponsons for the Stormhammer also hit that 2-inch multi-laser range reduction. Tarantula Las Cannon decreases 2 dice to 1, but it did gain the Accurate trait to help make up for some of those missed shots. As for the buffs, there are numerous of those, starting with the Armiger Autocannon. This is an option that you can take, increases from 2 dice attack to 3. The Auxilia Las Rifles, the Las Rifle Tercio, gains the Ripple Fire trait. When given the first fire order, they can reroll 1s. The first of our Dreadnought buffs for the Carries Assault Cannon increases its dice from 1 to 2, and the Leviathan Storm Cannon increases its hit from 5 plus to 4 plus. The Medusa Siege Gun gains the Heavy Barrage trait, and because that trait encompasses both the Barrage and Demolisher, those are obsolete and removed. Big one here, I think, is the Plasma Blast Gun, which appears on the Stormblade, Warhound, and Warmaster, increases the dice from 2 to 3. I think this is a big buff for the Stormblade, and possibly even a bigger buff for the Warhound. It's been a while since I've looked at those weapon loadouts, but with the new reduced cost, that might be viable. The final page of buffs here is for the plasma gun. Despite having the range reduced from 10 inches to 8 inches, it does gain the assault trait, so that when it is within that half range, you do get double the dice. The Predator cannon has increased hit from 5+ to 4+, and the twin plasma guns for the Outriders has the range reduced from 10 inches to 8 inches as well, gaining the assault trait. There were several discrepancies that I found when comparing the weapon profiles in the back of the book to their certain unit profiles that I wanted to bring up. The hull-mounted multi-melta for the Saber tank, the entry listed as a 5+ to hit, but the weapon profiles in the back of the book says 4+ to hit. I assume this was going to be a buff, but they didn't carry it over. I don't know where the discrepancy is on that. I think the community has decided that the unit entries take priority, and so you should still be using the 5+ to hit until further notice or an FAQ on this. The las cannon sponson turrets, both for the Shadow Sword and the Storm Sword, list 1 die in their unit entries, but the weapon profile on the back of the book does still say 2 dice. This one's a little disappointing because I personally brought this up to him probably a full year ago, and it means there's some type of disconnect between the support team and the editors, because I think this one is kind of an unacceptable thing to miss. Which one should it be? The Stormhammer multi-laser sponson now has a similar issue, where the Stormhammer entry listed as 5 dice, and the weapon profile states 4 dice in the back of the book. Now, the last one is kind of silly, but I still want to bring it up, and there's been some weird conversation about it, and I'm pretty sure everybody agrees one way, but there's going to be people talking about the other way. The Castorus Knight Megara. The Graviton Pulse actual trait is on the list of the lightning cannon rather than the graviton gun. The lightning cannon does not have that trait listed in the back of the book. It did have a different one that it lost, but the graviton gun does have the comma, insinuating that the graviton pulse should be associated with that. Just be aware of it. Talk to your opponents and things like that. It's pretty obvious that the graviton gun has the pulse, but the lightning cannon doesn't. But the chart makes it look like the other way around. That's all I have for this quick video. I'm really excited to have this book and get going through it. There are a few things that I'm started to kind of plan in the future. I wanted to look at some of the iconic formation discounts. There's some big ones. There's some that are almost 300 points, which is really intriguing. I wanted to evaluate the Legions of Astartes actual detachment changes in detail. And then finally, I wanted to go into a deep dive about some of the ranged combat effectiveness. Are there any other units that stand out now that the missile launchers have been nerfed and things like that? If there's anything else you'd like to see, hit me up in the comments. Otherwise, have a great day.